So this week's project was one of the weirdest pieces of wood I had ever seen. I had a pretty good idea what it was before I started, but I had high hopes that I was wrong and hoped that it was something else. It turned out it wasn't. Stay tuned and see what it was and what I made out of it. Now, I've had this weird piece for a little while, and I never really knew what to do with it. At first, I thought it was a spruce burl, which, to be honest with you, didn't give me a lot of interest in it. But I got thinking about it, woke up this morning thinking this is this week's project. Came down and checked it. It was fairly dry, which is good. But then I took a close look at it. It is a branch. I mean, there's a branch running right straight through here, and the burl formed around it. But it's not spruce. It's cherry. So that's excellent news. So that's significantly increased my interest in working with this. So I think what I'm going to do is mount it between centers here, turn the outside round. I'm thinking an enclosed vessel where I'm basically going to keep the shape. My other option would be to cut it down the middle and get two small bowls out of either side, but I think I'm going to just make it round and make an enclosed vessel, just because I think that's the best use of the wood, and it's also a bit more of a challenging turn, which I kind of like. So let's get it mounted up and then see what we're dealing with. So this piece had a bit of a taper on the end, which I had to straighten up in order to mount it. And I cut that off. And there's why I thought it was cherry. And now this is why I think it's spruce. It does kind of smell like spruce now that I've cut it. It's white underneath, and it's pretty pitchy for a cherry. So I'm back to thinking it's a spruce. Although I'm disappointed, I'm still gonna give it a shot. Same plan. So here I am using my roughing gouge. Roughing gouge is a good option to get things started, to get them round. It's a heavy tool, it'll take abuse, and it cuts well too. You can see the shavings coming off, they're quite large. It doesn't take very long to make this pretty round. Oh, I am way in here. I'd have to get rid of an inch. So I'm going to move that over because I don't want to get rid of this much material. So what we do is we move it off center a bit so that I'm still, I got to remove that much. It's going to be pretty thin. There versus there, I'm going to have to remove quite a bit in diameter, but I think that's all I can do. So I'm here, but I'm still not touching here. Like, yeah, unfortunately, that's quite a dip. Now you may be asking yourself, why didn't I just continue to move it off center even further? I could have, but I wanted to leave a small opening. I didn't want the branch to be part of it. So I really only wanted the branch to be the opening. So that's why I didn't move it over even further. All right, decision time. I was thinking of a tall enclosed vessel. I may get into shorten this up a bit on the bottom and make a tri-foot. If I'm round here, that's good, you know, bad surface, but it's good. But when I come around here, you see I'm off 1/4 of an inch. So I could take the whole thing down that far, but there is a hole right there and it goes in quite deep. So decision time. I could call this the outside, turn away the inside, and this would now become an opening, which I think would be the best option for this piece of wood. And this is just an example of decisions that occur sometimes after I put the piece of wood on the lathe. You know, could I have seen that? I had kind of had it in mind when I started, but you know, now that I'm at this point, it's pretty obvious. I'm practically touching here, and I'm like I say, 1/4 inch here, but when I take that hole into consideration, it's considerably more. So I think that's what I'm going to do. This will be the outside. I'll just smooth it up. Don't take away any more diameter because I don't want to get into this, and then make that an opening. I should mention I'm still turning between centers. I still have my step drive on the left-hand side. So you will see it occasionally slow down if I make too large of a cut. I've also switched to my bowl gouge now that I'm mostly round, and just because it gives me a better surface and more control of my cut. So I didn't show it. I've shown it on other videos that I've done. I had caught where I thought was going to be my tenon, but being softwood, it's hard to get a good solid tenon, so I ended up gluing it on to a waste block, which is screwed onto a faceplate, and that's what you see on the left-hand side. So now I'm fully secure, mounted well, and my final shaping is done, and I'm starting to sand. I won't show all of that, just basically one grit, but I sanded right up to 600 grit. Spruce is kind of a white wood. There's not a lot of character and interest in it, although this was a burl, so it did have some variation in color. But I decided to use unicorn spit, which is a wood dye. I really like this dye. It gives a really multifaceted color to a project, and I have used it before in my channel. I applied one coat, let that dry, and now I'm applying a diluted coat, and it is a bit messy. Applying it with a brush, I'm probably a little too aggressive here as I'm getting some splash, but it does clean up fairly easily. And you can see now the variation in the wood and how the dye gets accepted differently depending on the wood, and it's really bringing out kind of a three-dimensional look. Now that it's dry, I'm using my abrasive paste just to smooth it out, and I've used this on my channel as well. This is a DIY abrasive paste that I've made, and now I'm applying a wax. And again, as I do this, it's really becoming more and more glossy and really developing that depth of color. So now the outside's finished. It's time to start working on the inside. So for that, I'm just drilling it out. Normally when I'm drilling out, I use a Forstner bit, but for a deep drill, in order to get that deep, I'd actually have to pass my drill chuck inside the project as well. For this one, the opening was too small. The bit wouldn't go inside. So I ended up using a spade bit, which was quite long, which allowed me to get all the way to the bottom without the drill chuck itself going in. Now that I have a hole there drilled into it, I started off by just using my spindle gouge, which did a good job at enlarging the opening. But eventually I got a little too deep, so I had to pull out the big guns, and this is my hollowing rig. I apologize you can't see it here. It's getting blocked by the laser guide. So I set this up so that helps me determine and know how thick the piece is, because as I set the distance between the laser and the cutting bit, you can see that there, and then as I'm sliding it down the inside, if the laser starts to fall off on the outside, then I know that I'm set at the right thickness. And I am occasionally checking it just to make sure that nothing has moved. So one advantage of having a hole in the side is I can see at this point how thick I am. I mean, I have the laser, don't get me wrong, I know where I'm at. You can see there how thick. The distance from the laser to the cutter, and when the laser falls off, I know how thick I am. So I have some control. I pull it out occasionally just to make sure my laser hasn't shifted. This is not as solid as I'd like it to be. That's going to be a retrofit to my design to beef this up a little bit. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased. I've got a nice smooth surface in there, at least as far as I can feel, which is all that counts. And well, now that I've got a hole I can feel in here too, but it's getting pretty thin. Overall, it's pretty good. I can see how deep I am overall. I'm right here. So I need to go a little bit deeper. I could probably drill it because I'm not, now that I see that, I'm not all the way down. So I could drill a little bit further and then work it a little bit more, but overall it's coming quite well. As I turned the inside thinner, some of the hole opened up where it naturally was that deep. This part up here was just bark, so I didn't want to leave that white. I wanted to remove that opening altogether. So I just used my Dremel tool and just carved away at it. It still is a natural opening. It wasn't a natural opening that went all the way through, and that's what I ended up doing, making it a complete pass-through. So now I'm just going to work on the very bottom. Everything else on the vase is complete. So here I'm just cutting this matching profile to what you see here on the outside to the inside so that I have a rim going all the way around the bottom of this vase. The next thing I'm going to do is cut away some of that bottom of the burl itself and make the bottom round in shape as well. So here I am sanding the inside now, and for that I just use a dowel with a slot cut in it with a piece of paper stuck in it. It's a very effective way to sand the inside, especially of a deep vase. It allows you to get inside, and it is a safe way of doing it, and it allows you to get inside a very small opening. Quite effective. I didn't show it, but prior to this, I actually applied my normal polishing my abrasive paste and my polishing paste. Now I'm just applying 3 waxes. The first one, the red one there you see me doing now, is the Triple E, and then there's a white diamond, and then finally a Canuba wax. One thing you have to be very careful of is that you have a very good hold on this because the waxing wheel can pull it out of your hands. And here's the finished product. You can see it. You can see the opening inside. I'm still on the fence on whether or not I like that, but at this point it is there. With it buffed and the Canuba wax applied, it has a nice shine and really a 3-dimensional color to it. It really does bring out the different shades and characters in it. So I am pleased overall with the way it turned out. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And thank you for watching.